Security is complex, but it doesn't have to be difficult. Microsoft Copilot for Security brings the paradigm-shifting power of generative AI to the security industry at large. Copilot doesn't replace human insight and imagination. It complements your ingenuity at machine speed and scale, letting you see more and move faster. It performs complex security and admin tasks intuitively, elevating the expertise of the entire team. Junior members get a coach to develop their skills, while experts have an always-ready AI assistant, freeing them up to innovate, create, and think strategically. With Microsoft Copilot for Security on your team, you'll transform the way you protect and support your organization. Security is complex. Make it simple with Copilot.
Think back to your first concept of digital security. For me, the first thing I remember was my mom telling me about the dangers of the internet and to never talk to strangers online and never get into a car with someone you don't know. And now, we use digital technology to summon strangers in cars that we don't know to take us wherever we need to go. The world of tech and securing it has been evolving so quickly, in step and often a pace of where we are as a society technologically. We have to stay one step ahead because we know that these malicious actors are doing the same thing. They're using the same tools that we use to try to become even more intricate, to try to get into sensitive information within our organizations. But very recently, with the advent of generative AI, large language models, things like ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, we have seen a shift on both sides of this very delicate equilibrium where, yeah, the threats are getting more and more sophisticated. There are nefarious actors who are using AI in order to try to penetrate organizations. But then at the same time, there are very smart organizations that are using and harnessing the power of AI to make sure that they are as prepared as possible for the future. And so that is what I want to talk to you about today from our Microsoft side, is Microsoft Copilot, but specifically for security. And there is a very important reason we're going into this, because the odds are stacked against security analysts. There are 4,000 different password attacks per second. Every 72 minutes is how long it will take after someone falls for a phishing email, one of the most insidious and deceitful types of communication that a user of an organization can receive, tricking them into giving over their password and their identity as it relates to that organization. Multi-factor authentication goes a long way to helping this, but once that is compromised, in just a little over an hour, they have breached that organization. And compounding this, there is a global shortage right now of trained cybersecurity professionals that are equipped to deal with these threats. So we feel that we really do need to think through what is a new approach that we can have. What are some ways that we can fix these disconnected processes, get even more talent, or take the talent we already have and up-level them even further, take junior analysts and give them the tools they need to learn even further? How do we make collaboration more efficient? How do we thwart sophisticated attacks and drifts in our security posture over time that are difficult to track? Very complicated tool sets that aren't really helping matters and causing even more confusion and cross-training among security professionals. So we feel that AI has a very unique opportunity to address a lot of these concerns, to light a different path forward for all of our customers in terms of how they can secure their organization efficiently and simply, and with the current team that they have, augmented with the power of AI. So this is what is allowing for, yes, a paradigm shift in the way that we look to secure organizations. Because when we infuse AI into what we're doing, we're going to continuously be monitoring, assessing, tweaking, and improving it because we have real-time visibility with an intelligence, an artificial intelligence, that's there monitoring our security stack. We can understand threats clearer, even if that junior analyst maybe never has encountered that threat before. They now have a dedicated, whenever you want it, immediate response from a security expert in the form of a large language model, in the form of AI. Also, this helps everything just run smoother and quicker because we can create these workflows and consolidate tools that are needed to transform the way that organizations are protecting themselves. So we look at AI as not just an opportunity for Microsoft to show off some fancy tech that can secure your organization better. I mean, that's great, but we want exponential gains in human expertise. AI is a powerful learning tool. And when we're equipped with knowledge and information, we're able to take that and be extremely powerful and protective of the things that our teams are there to protect and safeguard. We can consolidate the vast amount of different tools into more of a simplified approach. And so we took Microsoft Copilot, we took our decades and decades of experience in security and put them together into what we call Microsoft Copilot for Security. And so this is our first generative AI security product. It is here for security teams and IT teams to help protect organizations when we are in this hyper-growth model. Couple of ways that this has been helping customers. We're not able to just respond in hours, we're responding in a matter of minutes. We're taking complex topics that someone might be confronted with and using natural speech, natural language in order to interact with this model and learn about the incidents that have come up. Learn about past precedent and how we can now protect ourselves against it by actually talking with this model and getting information back and forth. Using AI to maybe catch what a human reviewer had missed, and using it as a tutor, an intelligence that can be there to help train people to even further spot these types of vulnerabilities. An example here, a quote that I love of a security customer, Copilot for security customer. It takes us 3 minutes to do a task that used to take at least a few hours. This is not uncommon. We're seeing immense time savings with the leveraging of AI across almost every industry, every vertical, every department within our organizations that have rolled out AI, like Microsoft Copilot. Security is no different. And in fact, security may be one of the most important and most prevalent places that AI can add immediate value in further protecting an organization. Now, there are different options out there, so what is it about our approach at Microsoft that makes it a bit even more secure? We focus on having the most advanced models that we can securely roll out to our customers. We do this by creating our own technology, but then also reaching out to OpenAI, a major partner of Microsoft, which helps to power these models, and leveraging our extensive experience as Microsoft and Microsoft Security. Providing infrastructure in the cloud that is able to handle the vast different needs of an organization. A security-specific orchestrator, really advanced threat intelligence that now is even further infused with AI, and prompt books and more that help people understand just what they can do with this type of technology. So let's take a look a little bit further into Microsoft Threat Intelligence. So we manage and defend the 4 of the world's largest public clouds. You have Xbox Gaming, you have Microsoft 365, Azure, and Dynamics 365. This equates to 65 trillion signals per day. These are signals from 1.4 billion endpoints across the planet. We are one of, if not the only organization on the planet that can say that we have this level of insight and this level of detail. We make Windows. It is used by the vast majority of people out there, and sharing security knowledge is par for the course for most people. Reporting security incidences to Microsoft so that it makes it better, you've encountered that throughout your entire career. Those are all signals that we use to make our threat intelligence all the more stronger. It gives us a graphical picture of the internet and where threats lie, how infrastructure is distributed, and how we can make everything even more integrated into an end-to-end security stack that you see here. So yes, Copilot for security there in the middle, but this is part of a multi-tiered, multi-pronged wheel, as you see here, of different security solutions. One of the big ones, Microsoft Defender. That goes back to Microsoft Security Essentials when we first rolled that out for Windows 8.0. That was the first time that we were finally done with having a vulnerability in our product that an entire industry of antivirus and anti-malware solution was built to fix. And we don't have that anymore. With Microsoft Defender for endpoint and Microsoft Defender in the cloud, we now can protect at no cost all of these different devices that are running our operating system to make sure they are secure. With tools like Microsoft Entra to uniquely identify each person, each entity, each conference room, each desk phone inside of an organization. Well, the desk phone more so goes into Intune, where we have device management as a part of this too. Purview to make sure that the information that is organically stored by the users of an organization is meeting policy and isn't unintentionally causing some security threats. As well as Microsoft Sentinel, Microsoft Priva, and more. But now, Copilot for security has access to and insight into and knowledge of how to use every single one of these security functions right here at our fingertips. So here's an example of the Copilot for Security standalone experience. So this is an example of when you would be directly interacting with Copilot for Security in its own window, asking it questions about the organization, asking it questions about this industry, about recent events that are of note, other vulnerabilities that other companies had, and how is our organization protected. You speak to it organically with natural language like it's a person that you can interact with. You can see some of these examples. Hey, I noticed, tell me about Defender Incident 20259. Tell me about error code 0x012 blah blah blah. You can ask it, oh yeah, Cobalt Strike, what is that? I'm new to this team. I'm tasked with preparing this organization to be as secure as possible. I don't know what Cobalt Strike is. I don't want to ask my coworkers because I'm afraid that they won't think I know what I'm doing. Talk to Copilot for security. It is ubiquitizing this information so that we can get it into the hands of the people who need it. You could even be vague. Tell me about my latest incidents. Whatever those incidents may be, tell me about them. What's going on in the organization? And yes, they could go to the very rich dashboards that we've created to provide this information even clearer, but just by asking Copilot, they get an organized list, and then you can drill down and ask follow-up questions. And if you're stumped, there's prompt books for security that have been created by our team. So a couple of examples. A simple, how can I improve my security posture? Oh, there was an incident. Are any of my machines affected by this incident? Summarize the incident in bullets. And you could even get very specific with it. One not pictured here is, okay, summarize this incident in bullets. Now, how did this incident affect the HR team? A very specific follow-up question. There might not be a portal that exists for that, and that's part of the power of this intelligence to be able to give you that information in a natural way. Log4Shell, that's odd. I wonder what that is. You can ask it these types of knowledge-based questions. When you say, tell me about Defender Incident 20259, here's an example of that response. This is a medium severity with a total of one alert. One alert was summarizing the following incident. Blah, 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 blah. Unfamiliar sign-in properties related to an attempt at this IP address impacting this user. So, great. And then it puts that more into an immediately recognizable and explainable text form. So this is what you might see just kind of popping up. This is the actual text of the incidents. Severity, medium, start time, blah, 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 description, unfamiliar sign-in properties, attempted to sign an IP impacting user this. Or, the security incident occurred November 2nd. It involved a medium security alert. An unfamiliar sign-in attempt was detected originating from this IP address in the United States, impacting this user. It's at the initial access stage of the kill chain. So it gives even a little bit of an update as to how the organization is currently treating this. And then you can provide feedback at the bottom as to how Copilot has addressed that concern. There's an example of it in the standalone format, but that's not the only place where Copilot for Security adds value. Yes, we have standalone, but we also are embedding this. It is an intuitive, natural experience natively inside things like Microsoft Purview, things like Entra ID, where there is a nice little Copilot for Security box or bubble or prompt or sidebar that appears in a useful way wherever it is going to add the most value. So you can see down here, oh, explain this query language, explain this code, explain this alert summary. And we are working really hard to build this into and across a wide array of our different technology solutions from a security standpoint, the things that you would interact with daily as you go to help your customers, or that your customers' IT and security teams would be interacting with. When you have Copilot for Security, it makes itself known, it makes itself present there, able to help, and if you don't see it, you have the standalone experience to help fill that gap. Let's talk a little bit about the risks that come with an AI large language model. There have been some people, and especially in the security sphere, that have concerns about this. I'm giving access to a lot of sensitive company information, and everything about my decade of experience in IT security is telling me not to. That's natural, because this is something that's very different. We're not used to granting a singular program access to this level of data, this depth of data that you have in your Microsoft Graph, the customer has through you in front of their users. So what are we doing to make sure that this is safe, that this is protected? A couple of points on that. And the first is, this is an isolated environment. It is within the Microsoft 365 service boundary, the same level of protection that our customers currently enjoyed prior to this AI revolution. We are going to take that same level of security and apply it here. That language model is not analyzing data for its training purposes. Your data is your data. It is not shared with OpenAI. It is not shared with Microsoft. We cannot resurrect a conversation that a user had with Copilot because that data is destroyed and it's not retained by our servers. So there is some important key differences with it being retained by the customer, not being used to train the data, and making it the most comprehensive compliance and security controls that we can possibly ingest into a product, guided by all of our principles. Our AI needs to hold these things true. It needs to be inclusive, respect privacy and reliability and safety, be fair and transparent and accountable, no matter what in our experiences. So, taking this a little bit further, the data that is provided to Copilot for Security allows it to be as productive as possible. So if you trust us, if your customers trust us, as they have with Microsoft 365 and with the Microsoft Graph for a long time, and that data is provided to Copilot for Security, that can help make that organization immensely more secure. The Copilot security data that it just knows based off of the trillions of signals that we receive, the organization's data, and our knowledge of the threats that are out there in the sphere of tech all come together. So here's how this works. The human submits a prompt. Hey, tell me about incident such and such. Security Copilot says, okay, what is the context? He's asking a technical question. What is all of my skills about this? Is this incident something that is known to Microsoft at large? No, it's just a unique number for this organization. Okay, let's take that further. All right, now I know what this incident is. I found the information inside of the organization. I want to execute a plan to get that, write it back. It's then pushed through the Microsoft Graph, pushed through Copilot, pushed through privacy and authentication to make sure that that user is actually a member of the security team and could receive this response and that they're still signed in securely. Then with all that, it'll generate a response. And the human simply receives it as Security Copilot formats the data so it's even easier for them to read. Functionally, that's how it works. But let's talk about some of the benefits of doing this. We have been trialing Copilot for Security with a lot of specific customers, and we have been taking that even further to beyond trial. Now it is available for sale, and is being used by customers. And that has shown us some really powerful results. People who are using AI to protect their organization, they are outpacing the adversaries. They are spending less time on low-value repetitive tasks. Security professionals and IT professionals, they cost an organization money, and we want to use that effectively. It's not here to replace. It's here to augment and use our beautiful human brains for something that is more valuable instead of something that could just be very easily automated by a computer. Beyond that, making sure that people can respond quickly, see critical context and understand how it works, strengthening the team, and defending at scale. So I'm going to drill into each of these points in just a bit more detail. And let's start with outpacing the adversaries, because this is what we're here to do, is to protect your organizations, your customers, and their organizations from people that are out to do harm. So what we found, 40% of the time spent on standard activities, investigation, response, threat hunting, intelligence enrichment, this can be done faster. We are seeing 63% of the time on these non-mission critical tasks is being saved by users that have reported to us in this customer survey that we conducted in October of 2023. You can see here on this chart, troubleshooting minor issues, percentage of time saved, 84% of time saved. It almost seems like a made-up number, but this was backed by the experiences that real customers in this preview had. That continues. Preparing reports. Well, goodness, it can do that certainly quickly. Now let's look at the lowest scoring ones on here. Still massive improvements. A 38%, if you were before this AI stuff came around, if you were to go to a CIO and say, hey, we can reduce the investigation and response time to an incident by 38% in your organization, well, with what magic can you do that? Well, with Copilot for Security. Outpacing adversaries is something we are really proud of course, because we have to. But let's talk about the people that work in our organizations. AI is not here in this context to replace these people, but rather use their skills more effectively and help to build them. So up-leveling junior analyst talent, you've heard me refer to this a couple of times so far in this session, is really key. The response level originating from, this is where we're seeing our own judgment of the quality of Copilot for Security's responses. When it comes to analyzing script, we're seeing expert level analysis from the AI model. Everything else, we're seeing a mid-level analyst quality of response. It still requires human expertise. You have to have a skilled professional to be able to judge if what the AI is saying is any good. But generating the information and leaning more on our human power of discernment and less on click, 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 click type for everything and that kind of drudgery of tasks is part of what it is here to do. Redirecting human expertise to the hardest problems and using AI to fill in any gaps. This helps everything move just a lot faster and a lot more accurately. We're seeing 26% faster across all tasks. I love this very broad, all tasks. 26%, we are seeing more accurate responses to security incidences by 44%. These stats are all extremely high. This was a survey that was conducted a month later, November of 2023, from our Office of the Chief Economist. And so 86% of those who used this reported that it helped improve their quality of work and that it made them more productive. 83% say this reduced the effort needed to complete the task. 90% of the security and IT professionals that used this expressed a desire to work with Copilot for Security. There's not many things that get a 90% approval rating. So we're really happy to see that, and especially from security professionals, it's a good signal to us that we are doing something right. A few examples of how this can work, how this can help. So when we see an increasing volume of sophistication, an increasing volume of threats, then that is where we are able to detect and respond faster. When we have this inability to train our teams at that scale, well, those teams now have at their fingertips 24/7 one of the best tutors in AI or in security in the form of that AI. People are fatigued, they're overworked. This can help to save time so that they can prioritize better. The security operation is not adjusting well to the business priorities. We can tweak and tune Copilot to respond better, to provide better risk and executive views of what it is doing. All of this is great. This is me speaking in more of the abstract, but we have some quotes. I love to share this, and I'll conclude with this. These are some quotes from some of our actual customers who have tried Copilot for security. Here's what they had to say. Avanad. Copilot for Security is allowing us to re-envision security operations. It will be critical in helping us close the talent gap. This organization says Copilot for Security can democratize security to the end user. The average analyst training time used to be a couple of months, and that can reduce drastically if you're using Copilot for Security. Dow says, we are excited about what we have seen from Microsoft on Copilot for Security. These capabilities can help companies stay ahead of future threats. So, all in all, what I will say is there is so much to be excited about with AI. There's creative writing, there's helping people make Word documents and PowerPoint presentations from scratch, and productivity gains that the rest of the organization loves to see. But there's not always all of the enthusiasm and excitement about something new when it comes to security. I know from our circles, perhaps it is, but for the average user, they just somewhat take security for granted. Oh, my organization cares about security. We know that it takes a lot to make sure that things are secure and to stay up to speed as things are moving so quickly. And for some people, AI can seem as scary as getting into a car with a stranger that you don't know. But as we've come to learn, there are more secure ways to do this over time. Technology advances, things that we were once uncomfortable with become standard practice. Using AI to help our organizations be as secure as possible, well, we feel that that is yet another opportunity to do so, and we're happy to be on the forefront of it. If you have further questions or want to learn more about how Ingram Micro can help you integrate this into your offerings to your customers, please reach out to your Ingram Micro team to learn even more. I'm Jared with Ingram Micro and Microsoft. It's been a pleasure. Till next time, have a great day.